We've got Gary and Lisa from our Tillamook County Pioneer Museum. Gary Albright, our general, what do they call you? Our
director.
Director.
Yeah, how about
our
that?
director.
Very lofty title.
But introduce Lisa to us.
This is Lisa Hoskins, who works with the museum and has for several months now, and does everything that needs to be done and does it better than anyone else. She is actually helping to put in the new storage racks the Meyer Memorial Trust paid for in our attic so we can preserve our photograph collections, and she works there on Thursdays doing that. And she has helped us in many ways. We're working on framing. She's actually organized the record system on the second floor of the building where my office is, and what she's done is so wildly popular that she's now in great demand from everyone else. I mean, she actually cleaned out and unscrewed that mess that was the safe in my office, which is an incredible accomplishment.
Well, and folks, he pulled her off the job. She's still got a few touches of paint on her hands. And Lisa, now one of the things that I've found interesting, and Gary's touched on this before, what we see out on the floor and on display is only a small part of all of the things that the museum has.
Yeah, it really is. We have so much there, and it's also like wonderful.
And now what you're working on, when you said the framing, what is it that you're doing?
We have pictures from that people have brought to us that are from around here that have been around for a long time, or portraits, and we're hanging them, and then if anyone wants to find something from in the past, we can be oh, okay, and then give it show them.
So nice. Nice.
Instead of having in boxes or something, they're all up. And
oh, I want to see this. Now this is a starting to, where is it at? You said on the second floor?
It's up on the fourth floor. What happens is we had to reorganize things, but we put up these racks that are kind of like you've probably seen in, we actually have them out at the Latimer Repository, but in hospitals you often see them. The sliding racks where you only need one aisle. So we have 11 aisles and you only need one to get to it. And so Lisa has been working with other people there, including our registrar and some volunteers, to make this happen where we hang them up. Two things. First of all, we stop damaging all these old photographs.
Right.
Yeah,
second, you can find them in a heartbeat. But the really cool thing is, and it's what Lisa said, is that we have this sinking feeling when someone comes in and says, I haven't seen my grandfather's photograph. Where is it? And you go, oh.
Where did I put that? It's not. It's okay if it's Shaena saying it about her house, but it's not okay if our museum says that.
Oh no, and it's wrong. We should know, and because we can find it in a matter of moments, and we've done that several times, where a topic will come up,
nice.
and Lisa will say, well, it's right here, and it's on this aisle, and it actually works. I mean, and it's wonderful because the Meyer Memorial Trust does things like that. They fund things that aren't exactly glitzy. Most people will never see it, but it makes all the difference to our collection.
What an interesting thing to work on, Lisa.
Yeah, it's really it's nice. And then we're going to alphabetize them. And then so if anyone needs them, for sure, we'll know exactly where it would be if we have it. Yeah.
Excellent.
No, it's really nice. And the only really downside to this is Lisa has already suggested we put more stuff on the walls, so we're going to need a new building because we got some pretty wonderful pictures, like the basketball team at Tillamook High School 50 years ago. And I mean, those guys, there's some questionable looking characters in that bunch.
I bet we could pick them out.
Yeah.
There's something, folks, if you haven't been by our museum, open Tuesday through Sunday, 10 to 4, there's something coming up that should encourage you to visit anyway, and that's our Step Back in Time.
That's wonderful, Shaena. Yeah, Carla. I'm just the mouthpiece for what's actually done at the museum. That she gave me this, and I'm going to leave it with you. And that is August 19th through the 21st is a Step Back in Time, and it's really a big deal because we've got all the museums and historical societies and the Oregon Coast Scenic Railroad involved in all of this. And for the flat price, you can go to all the museums. You can go to or take a ride in the train, and it includes special things in each of these places. I mean, it's the Air Museum, the Garibaldi Maritime Museum, the International Police Museum in Rockaway, the Halem Valley Historical Society, the Forest Center, the Quote and Textile Center at Latimer, the Old Iron Show at Blue Heron, the Tillamook County Historical Society, Cape Mears Lighthouse, and then the Oregon Coast Scenic Railroad.
Amazing.
And it's something that we think really works very well. And I wanted to bring this to you. It's hard to show on the radio what a Z card is, but we through Nan Devlin and the tourism efforts.
People, you got to get one of these. It's a map that that literally folds itself, and it can go right into your pocket. Now, Nan Devlin has these at Tillamook Coast.
Yeah. What we've been doing is passing them out to our members, and we got, I can't remember how many, but quite a lot of them.
This one?
Yes, you can.
If you can find me, I will show you this one, and I will tell you where you can get your own. It's pretty impressive.
It folds into something that very conveniently fits in a pocket, and then you open up, and it has all the 12 parties who participate in this. And the Step Back in Time has grown each year, starting out with a day and then 2 and then now 3. And it's something that is wildly popular, and it's a great bargain. Yeah. I mean, if you put into perspective what you can do over 3 days' time for a flat charge is really a wonderful thing. And we'd encourage people. The advance tickets are on sale at the Pioneer Museum, the Air Museum, and the Garibaldi Museum.
Well, I think people, and I'm sure Nan and Visit Tillamook, our Tillamook Coast, has been promoting this, because I would imagine this. How many times have we said if you could get people to stay one more day, and this is a reason where they don't just come over to stop by our wonderful cheese factory and continue on to Seaside or down to Lincoln City, that they plan on making 3 days of it.
Well, and Shaena, that's exactly what you said several years ago, and it's actually come to fruition that we see it happening, that people aren't, getting up in Newport and going to bed in Astoria or the reverse. They're staying here for other reasons. And you can tell, you're driving up 101, you can see people in kayaks, you can see people out walking around, actually doing something. At Kilch's Point, we got people counters we installed out there, and we have thousands of people coming. Well, and it's wonderful.
It is. And the things that I see happening, and now we're working on our Rails and Trails plan, and it's one of the things, and I know that has a long time, but I see that as a safely beautiful way to enjoy our coast for our bicyclists and walkers. But what's happening with our Oregon Coast Rail riders? And that's getting people back on the line, and I'm looking forward to the time where they can stop by our museum, our Kilch's Point, on the way through.
Well, see, and we're trying to organize just that. We need to do that, because it's funny you should say that we've been building benches down at the storage building at Kilch's Point, and it's very close to the railroad tracks. And I hear the people laughing and coming, and I'm thinking, who is this? And it's all the people. It's a crowd that is on the rail riders, and are enjoying themselves so much. And I see them both in the north and south end. There's a south entry to Kilch's Point, but the north end also, that the people come in. To stop there would be a wonderful thing. You stop and go do something, take a hike through the woods and come back and get on. It would be a wonderful thing.
It would be.
And I think it will grow. I mean, I see no way around it.
Well, we've got a lot of interesting things. I imagine our tiny houses, our sheltered nook there that's just down the road from you. One of the things, and I've seen the Hargis promote that, one of the reasons to stay in one of those tiny houses is they can walk down and enjoy our beautiful Kilch's Point, too.
Oh, they do. If you go online, I mean, it's funny you should say that, because actually on our, if you go to our site online, you'll find that there are references to Shelter Nook and the reverse. And we have a number of people using Kilch's Point as a reason to come to this area. And particularly people with either small children or people with special needs for movement. And it's working very well.
Well, I see people post regularly, and I'm sure everyone, we're chatting about this. Gary will be happy to know, though it won't happen until next year. We look like the paving of Warren Street is on the books. No, we're not gonna make this season. I'm sorry to say, but it will be next year, because you just turn off Warren Street across from. Hey, let me take a short break, and we'll be right back, and I'll tell you more about it. Because when you're traveling along, enjoying the scenery, 6 miles north of Tillamook on Highway 101. There it is, Tillamook Country Smoker. It's a family-owned business that's been turning out a unique brand of beef jerky for over 40 years. It's juicy, it's tender, it's good. Stop by the retail store off Warren Street at Highway 101 in Bay City. They're open 9 to 5, 7 days a week. You're going to find everything. 2-foot-long pepperoni, teriyaki, and beef sticks for $1. And excellent summer sausage. There's always something on special. Those 1-pound bags of beef jerky are a great buy. Tillamook Country Smoker. If we're going to eat healthy, this is the way to do it. And be sure to visit them online at tcsjerky.com. And when you stop by and pick up that 2-foot-long piece of pepperoni, then all you have to do is go across the street. And you can go on a nice, 2 mile? Could you hike 2 miles?
Yes, yeah. And because of the loops, it is 2 miles in total. And so, yeah, you can take a 2-mile walk, and you can walk along the bay once you get out to the bird watching station, so you can extend that. And it really is very nice. And you also have access to it from the north end, the end of Salmon Street, down to Goose Point and around. There are options beyond it, but there are 2 miles of identifiable path.
Bay City's residents on that side are lucky, and everyone. It's not just our community. It's not just our county. There's a lot of visitors to that spot, and we're continuing to visit with Gary and Lisa from our Tillamook County Pioneer Museum about our Kilch's Point Reserve. And when you had that, what was it? I can't remember. It was, we know that if you talk about it too much, a lot of people show up. But you worked with the smoker one time to kind of have a shuttle service for some opening. I think it was the bird watching station.
Yes, and we did do that, and they were so nice about it because we needed overflow parking, and that's something that we're working on now, and it's one of the last infrastructure things we have to do before we think we've caught up. Now that we have a real bathroom there, which is wildly popular, we have to expand up parking around the circle near the storage building. But the smoker made it possible for us to have people park off site because we're way too many people. In a single event. And it's funny because this year, because we have expanded the parking down at the storage building, we haven't had anybody parking in neighbors' yards, which is what we're trying to stop.
Nice. And you have your new restroom, too.
It is so nice. That's a wonderful thing, and it really is nice. I mean, I think it's amazing how sensitive people are about taking good care of it. Mm-hmm. With thousands of people going through, you'd think it would be, there'd be a problem from somewhere along the line. It has not been like that. It's really very nice.
I like that kind of stuff. Well, let's come back into town for a few minutes, even though I really like hanging out around Bay City. You know that.
Yeah, I don't know why Shaena cares so much about that place. Yeah, Shane's the mayor of Bay City.
The listener says, yes, we know. But there is, it's right now, people, there's good reasons to stop by. Now, a week from Friday is Moonlight Madness. We're gearing up for fair time, so there's going to be lots of people in town. And the museum doesn't have a booth at the fair, but I think they're probably swamped during the fair.
Oh, during the fair, absolutely. My end of that is to go down and to the Pioneer Association booth and just greet people, welcome people, encourage them to come and see things that we're doing. And so, I do spend the time there, and that's a much larger crowd than we would draw.
And Pioneer Day is Thursday. Let's see, the opening day, of course, Wednesday. Businesses is Friday. Merchants Day.
And then there's we've been
you're supposed to go every day. So
well, and see, that's it. A lot of times, that's where the numbers do get so large. A lot of people do go every day, and for different reasons. And we've been advocating it through the museum for the Master Gardeners,
of course,
as well as the Pioneer Association, and to talk on the radio with Shaena. All I have to do is find a time that isn't already taken. I got to hurry up.
Those fair interviews are fun to do and well listened to. I speak because when I was visiting with Lisa first, KTIL has been in that booth on the air since 1946. This is 70 years. My goodness, Shaena can't count. That we've been doing that, and then this building was built in 47. So, first year was 1946 out there at the fairgrounds in the booth that we still use today. That's kind of cool.
No, there is something good to be said. Something that lasts that long means it was meant to be. I think I mean it. I think there's something to be said for that. Really.
Another thing that our museum steps up to help. There's so much historical. about, and I'm thinking right now about our Air Museum and some of the things that we're doing with Helping Hands upstairs. Can you talk a little bit about that, Gary?
Oh, absolutely. Out at Helping Hands at the old Naval Command Center, which is kind of the center of the port area, the building purchased by Helping Hands reentry program. The first floor was finished in March, and it's got a commercial kitchen and offices and so forth, and community space and dining room and all this. And it went to capacity almost immediately. And the second and third floor, there was a grant provided. We just got notice of it 3 days ago, I guess, that a $75,000 grant that's split between Clatsop and Tillamook to do additional work in those areas. But we have, and it's been in the news for a week and a half, I guess, that they put up 24 raised beds on the east side of the homeless and reentry program shelter, they've given away, I think the number is 575 pounds of produce back to the Oregon Food Bank. And it's a wonderful thing, because here we have homeless people and people going through reentry programs contributing back to the general public in need, which I think is, I don't know, it's unusual, but it's wonderful.
You know, it was when the FFA 4-H plant sale and the master gardeners were there. I said, well, why don't you give me a few plants and I'll take them over. And I'm trying to remember, when is that, the end of April or something like that. And they were planting them then, and to see that, some 500 plus pounds already, and I saw the pictures, and people, this is wonderful. We're talking about out at our Air Museum. Now, you see that interesting building, and there's that higher room upstairs. That was the radio, that was a control room, wasn't it?
It was a control tower. Instead of an individual tower for the blimps taking off, they actually used that as the control tower. And it still has the old-fashioned kind of tiles that have the erratically dotted holes to absorb sound, and it is. The third floor was the control tower.
Sure.
And it's really very nice, because where they built 24 raised beds on the east side, on the west side there was playground equipment, which had just recently been expanded, because there are so many children that benefit from this.
Yeah.
And we're starting work on the second floor and the third floor, and the thing that speaks to a very giving community is that the windows, there's 91 windows in that place, 12 pane, big windows, and they're all in bad shape because they've been there since 1942.
Yeah.
We want to replace them, and the windows cost in the neighborhood of $400, but it cost almost that much again to have them disposed of properly because of lead paint and so forth.
Oh, of course.
But we need to pay for installation and then structural repair as you take the windows out because of some leakage over time. So anyways, it cost about $1,085 to replace a window and do everything that goes with it.
Makes sense.
And we just rolled this out, I don't know, 6 weeks ago. And we've already sold 7 of the windows, which I think is great. It's almost $8,000 we've taken in by people.
Isn't that nice?
And these are just individuals who want to contribute.
Yeah.
And it's really very nice. And we're going to sell all 91 windows, one window at a time. And we sell a half a window, a tenth of a window. We'll take whatever you have in your pocket.
I like this.
And it's working. And we will. We'll get all the windows replaced. And there's a lot of money that needs to go into that building, but we're saving a historic building, and now we're looking into, and it's something Lisa's going to work on later today, the idea of replacing the fire escapes, because you go to the second and third floor, that becomes an issue.
Right.
And in the historic ones, if you can believe it, Shaena, it sounds crazy, but they were wooden. And I thought, wooden fire escapes? And the idea is it's still acceptable if you have a sprinkler. Can you imagine fleeing a fire and getting a shower as you're running out of the building?
Well, if you think about it, a wooden stairway on the outside of a building, that's not unusual. We're not talking about stories and stories high. It could be done because it does need to be historically correct, doesn't it?
And that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to preserve all this we can. And the historic preservation part of it is where we get into this to begin with.
Well, what I think is wonderful is, without Helping Hands, and thank you, Alan Evans, and the entire group, that building might not have been saved.
Oh, no, Shaena, I don't know how you could have saved it.
Yeah.
Without this constant influx of funding and volunteerism, And use. I mean, the best way to preserve a building is to move into
Truly.
it. It's not just to leave it vacant. You should live in it. And that's exactly what's happening. We're saving a building that would have gone away, and it wouldn't have taken that long because the roof was in pretty bad shape, and there's a lot of things that need to be done yet. But it's really quite nice. We've had a number of people ask what they could do to move in there, and we're not advising anyone to do. That's not like what you do if your house is dirty. Yeah.
But it is. It's impressive, and for more than one reason. Gary, we're going to take another short break, and we'll be back visiting with Gary and Lisa and more about our Tillamook County Pioneer Museum. But now's the time to buy your next vehicle. It's the Tillamook Ford Freedom Sales event. You could qualify for 0% financing for 60 months. How about a $1,000 Smart Bonus cashback? Go to compareford.com for more info, or just stop by the friendly corners of 5th and 7th in Maine in downtown Tillamook. You need to take delivery by August 1st. You need to visit Tillamook Ford today. Tillamook Motor Company, a better place to do business. And, you know, I was telling Gary earlier, we're back visiting with Gary and Lisa from our Tillamook County Pioneer Museum. But I was visiting with Bob Weeks, and he said this was one of the, I think he said this last quarter, one of the best they'd had for a long time. But, you know, Gary, a lot of people remember what it was like in 2008.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was like, are we ever going to pull out of this? And people are feeling better, I think. There's businesses are feeling healthier, and people seem to be moving around a little more.
I think that's true. I do think there's a sense of positive energy in what's happening. And of course, the weather's cooperated. And, of course, we have this beautiful place we live. But I do think people are both willing to visit and to spend their money and to reach out and do something they haven't done for, as you say, since 2008. In the last 8 years, it's been a slow and erratic recovery. But I do see it now. I mean, I thought one of the strongest indications was that when the UK withdrew from the European Union, the Brexit vote, the markets went straight south, and the next day recovered, and then
exactly
some.
They recovered so well because I thought, oh my goodness, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
No, I thought this would just be another, like a kick while you're down sort of thing, and it wasn't like that. It was momentary, and it was more than recovered the next day, and that speaks to the strength of not just what I see, but what America feels, and I think that's a good thing.
It is a good thing. It is a good thing, and it's good for us. I know we get a little frustrated at times with our guests because they don't always act like guests. They should be kinder and gentler and all of those things. But because, boy, we sure get them. Last weekend, Garibaldi Days, and hats off to Visit Garibaldi, their tourism group, and the city and the Port of Garibaldi and all the people that made that happen. But that was an impressive weekend.
It was wonderful. And that's a great crew. I mean, that's kind of like the dream team. Those guys do a wonderful thing. I see the care they put into, I don't know, deadheading flowers or picking up trash when they're supposed to be going home, that kind of stuff. And they care that much, and it reflects in the whole city.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
It truly did. I thought they did a great job with signage this year, directing people off the road, and it just seemed to flow really smooth. The event tent that is probably a third of the size of the one that will actually be out there at the end of Jerry Creasy. Now it was a showplace for those free concerts. People are out there dancing on the lawn, and yeah,
and I heard about that. And everyone has their own special interest in some sort of music, but that was very nice. And those event tents, that sounds kind of like, I don't know, not only retro kind of thing, but it actually touches people's hearts.
Yeah.
A lot of people remember that as where you go for an event.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, we're doing fun stuff now. I think that our Oregon Coast Rail Riders, I mentioned them. They're doing great. One of the things that I want to do, because our museum is a living history, I want to talk about a living thing. Maybe our shell pile. A lot of people recognize Bay City, and I used to years ago. When we first came here in the early 70s, people would say, well, where's Bay City? And I said, it's north of Tillamook. It's that pile of oyster shells. And I said, oh, I know right where you're at.
No, it is a landmark. It's just like, the original landmarks for roads, the old turnpike system. You can tell because there's an icon there. It's called shells. Yeah.
Well, part of it is our oyster industry, vital as it is, has a long history in Tillamook County.
Oh, it does. I mean, and that was one of the first, want to say, beacons of industry to come was the idea of shellfish going south, namely to San Francisco, and it was shipping it out of here because it was that valuable. And it does matter. It matters a great deal. And I told you, I love to go out there. That's where I had dinner last night.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the right place to be.
It is. It is. I really enjoy it. So what are your next plans, Lisa? Have you got it's not like you're done yet. What are you in the middle of working on right now? Oh, it's a bunch. Go ahead.
Well, Thursdays I'm doing the portraits and helping hanging them. And then on Wednesdays I do little things for the museum, or just like whatever needs help, or cutting plexiglass.
Oh, she's wonderful. That's a great. You should see her with these
A
tools.
steady hand.
Well, and not put off by that constant scratching like cats on glass kind of stuff. She's really wonderful about that. And for all the pictures that we're hanging down at Helping Hands, the historic photos, she's cutting all the plexiglass for that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, and so, all right, I'm in the museum. Where do I go to see this display?
Which display?
The artwork, the portraits, and everything that you've been working on.
Oh, fourth floor.
Fourth floor.
If you call, we'll show anybody, because we want to show them that we've moved into the 21st century with this kind of
Because when
work.
you say fourth floor, I think, I don't know that I've ever been on the fourth
You
floor.
have. You may not have been, but you're welcome, Shaena. We have a fourth and fifth floor, and we would take you up there. And anyone that's interested, we'd show. We want to
There's
show
new
what we're doing.
things to find at the museum.
Yeah, we actually do have two attics, and they're very wonderful. But it speaks to just what you started saying and what Lisa said before, that we have so much stuff that we need to take better care of, because we have a great collection.
You gave me a number one time, Gary, of how many things that the museum takes care of.
We show 4,000, we have 52,000. And the truth of the matter is that's an underestimate, because we get new things in all the time. It's probably closer to 53, 54,000 things now.
My goodness.
So about 1 in 13 things are on display. To give you a notion, we could fill downtown Tillamook with our collection.
It's really impressive. And I'm looking forward to seeing what will happen. I don't know when they're going to start doing the work on Highway 6. I guess you might still call it First Street, right along the north side of our museum. That's going to kind of change the flow a little bit, perhaps?
Oh, well, it'll move traffic away from, that would be the northwest corner of our building, because we kind of gain property. We gain, I think, 1,242 feet or something. It's kind of like an isosceles triangle. It kind of goes north and west as it verges to go towards Rosenberg's. And so we actually gain a little property, and there'll be like a park area out there. It'll be very nice. But it does make for a bigger yard for us, and it'll be a changed configuration. It'll be more less angular and more rounded, if you will.
I like that, because it always kind of feels like the back door feel, so there'd be more like it's another entrance.
Oh, it would be, yes. Yeah. I mean, it'll draw people, too. I mean, it'd be a place that people can actually visit. Yeah.
I like that. I'm always impressed, as I'm sure many people are, when we see the old clapboard building that it once was and what our museum is today.
Oh, it's wonderful. People people come in to look at our collections and are impressed with the floors or the lighting, and it's like, it's not about the lighting of the floor, but it is to a lot of people. They think the preservation aspect is important.
Speaking of that, have the Festival of Trees Committee, have they committed to something
this
year?
Yeah. The second week in December, believe me, they're already cranked up.
I would imagine.
And believe me, I don't get involved at all. There are
Do they
8
know what
women
they're-
and men aren't welcome. Yeah.
Do they know what they're working on this year yet? Have they decided? They're not going to tell us quite yet.
They don't tell me. I mean, what I do is
We'll
I
let
get
you know,
marching
folks,
orders.
as soon as we know, because that's something that they've done wonderfully over the years. Whether it be for the floors, for our the bird watching station out at Kilch's Point.
That's true.
It's funded some really wonderful things.
No, it's fine, and that's something we're talking about this year. There's several options of what we would do with the funds, but it would all be something that's good. And I only, it's a need to know basis. I mean, I don't think I've ever been invited to one of their meetings, but I mean, I do what I'm told, and that's why it succeeds.
And remember, folks, the Pioneers Day, a great time to visit with Gary, and our Pioneer group is Thursday at our fairgrounds. Well, every day of the fair, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. Let's see. I think you should go every day. I'm going to go every day.
There you go.
Well, tomorrow, let's say happy birthday to a few people. Dick Warren, he's got those flashy dump trucks with those flames on them. That's Robert Warren Trucking. Jesse New, have our electronics store out there, and Tiffany Fletcher, Josh Ferguson. Happy birthday to the four of you, and happy anniversary to Greg and Jolene English. Tomorrow, Marine Deputies Bill Cloud and Chuck Reeder are going to be joining us. Today, senior meals, 11:30 at St. Mary's by the Sea in Rockaway. That's every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And senior meals noon every weekday at the Kiowanda Community Center in Pacific City. This afternoon from 1 to 5, discover the wonders of Venice, the unique challenges of its ecology, and the beauty of its art. Join artist Christine Harrison for an afternoon as she discusses her experience as an artist in residence at an international school in Venice this spring. It's that time of year again. They're getting the fairgrounds ready. Today from 5:30 to 7, there's a 4-H dairy livestock cleanup and setup. Tomorrow there's a 4-H exhibit hall setup from 1 to 2 and small animal setup from 5:30 to 7. And the farmers markets, Friday, Manzanita 5 to 8. Good time to make a connection with some of our local farmers. Saturday, and at all of them. Saturday, Tillamook is 9 to 2. It's Senior Appreciation Day. Daniel Cecil plays live, and Serenity Club is at the community table. Saturday, you can go down south to the Nesquin Farmers Market. That's from 9 to 1. And Sunday, Pacific City, 10 to 2, Whiz Kids Day at the Pacific City Farmers Market at the library on Bruton Road. Free fun for the family, Oregon Coast Dance Center show, hands-on community arts, sing-along, book giveaways. They're doing all kinds of stuff. Gary, Lisa, it was really nice having you two in to visit.
Thank you for having us here. It's nice to talk with you, Shaena.
And thank you, Tillamook.